All right, everybody, this is going to be episode 2 on my 78 build. I've got a long bed that I got from my good buddy Nick. He let me kind of go through his parts that he has for his build. So I got a long bed, I got a visor and a back glass. I already got the visor and the back glass in. I didn't record any of that. I need to section out this long bed to get that to fit wheelbase wise. It's looking like it's going to be about 14.5 inches that I have to take out. I've already done the measurements. I've got everything kind of just laid out with Scotch tape. I'll show you that here in a minute. I was going to do the transmission cross member first, but I'm waiting on a clutch alignment tool right now. So once that comes in, I'll stab the trans in and get all my measurements for that, and then work on the cross member for that. Figured right now to keep busy, since I was able to pick up this bed over the weekend, I'm gonna start doing little bits and pieces after work here, and I'll film what I can. So here's how the truck sits right now. I ended up getting the motor mounts finished up. I do have to tweak it a tiny bit to get it to sit level. It's sitting just slightly canted right now. But that's not too big of an issue. I'll do that a little later down the road. Like I said, I got a visor from my buddy's parts truck. I think I'm gonna keep it. Definitely a little different. Whole front end's just kind of sitting there. The hood's not bolted up or anything, so obviously it's not gonna stay like that. Here's the cab I got from him. Like I said, I already got it marked out. This is gonna be the section that I actually take out. I've got my center wheel well marked there. Front of the fender. This is where the wheel would have landed. So I measured, I think it was about 41 inches is from here to the center. Well, it's actually like 34, 36, because I have this little bit here that I'm going to graft back in. So it all equals out to 41. But I'm going to cut along this one first so I can set this part of the cab or the bed on. And then I'll have all this to play with and get a perfect measurement and weld that on after. Sectioned bed. Wasn't a perfect cut, but obviously just using a grinder and going off tape lines. I'm pretty happy with it. I'd call it good. So next step is to get it put on the bed or on the truck. Figure out the final measurement and section out a little more right there. Put everything back together and re-weld it. Quick look. I got the bed set on yesterday, obviously. Got the piece section out. Doesn't sit low enough, So I just kind of transcribed some marks, figured out the difference. It's actually turning out to be like 1 inch exact. So I got everything rigged up right now. Pull this bed back off, make some cuts on the bed mounts on the frame, and then a couple things underneath on the bed, and then I'll set it back down and see how it sits. Get the bed off. It's just gonna kind of hang there for a little bit. Got my marks here, 1 inch off. Same over there. Got a couple little spots to trim back here somewhere. I don't want to take the gooseneck off, so I am probably going to have to notch the bed right where that rail goes. But I'll build a little pop-up for it later. So start getting this cut, and then see how the bed sits after. I didn't really film too much during the process just because I was doing it a couple hours after work here and there. And it was raining for the most part, but the bed is on. Left myself a little bit of a gap here just for clearance, not too bad. All this looks shit. It's just spot welded. It's too thin, otherwise it just melts. So I'll clean that up later. On the other side, I've got some patch panels to put in. This side of the bed is pretty dented up, as you can see. It was hit with the forks when it was moved. Kind of folded this whole bedside in, so I'm just gonna throw these patch panels in and it'll basically replace all of this. So that should work out good. And then look at these body lines matching back up, but this was the main one I was concerned with when I was putting the bed on and getting it to sit where it's sitting. I think it sits pretty decent right now. I'm happy with it. Obviously, just doing everything in the driveway. I don't have any kind of special tools or a lift or anything to really get everything not locked in at the right level, but it's good enough for me. And today's Saturday, so I'm gonna try and knock out what I can. I've got part of the bed sectioned out already. Got this main wheel well arch, just kind of traced the patch panel. So I'm gonna get that burned in here in a few. Probably just spot weld it like I did all this. It's about 1 million spot welds. I'll grind that down later, but I'll do the same thing here. And then I've also got panels to replace the lower front and lower rear. So get this entire side looking nice again. And that'll pretty much be the end of the body work of the swap. Still waiting on that clutch alignment tool. Then I'll start working on the transmission, and I gotta figure out something for the front intercooler radiator and whatnot. I'll get into all that when I get into the wiring too for the engine. And I got everything on the bed tacked up. I'm gonna call it quits for the day. I've got some other stuff planned, but it's a lot better than it was. So everything's just spot weld tacked in, but it's at least not pushed in. Looks good to me. I think next week I'll start on the trans cross member and whatnot. I got the clutch alignment tool in finally, but I think that's gonna be it for this video. The bed's pretty much done. Just have to finalize a couple little things.